iced tea and some chips on the weekend with a BLT. That's where he needs to be.
They need some offensive players, or they're cooked.
Next guy up mentality. Next guy up mentality. Where's the next guy?
He's looking like he should be on the couch just watching football.
Mr. Butterfingers himself. Let's start it up. Travis Kelce. Hello and welcome to a special edition of Ain't That Our Ball. Today we're going to delve into the Kansas City Chiefs' disastrous season. I'm Johnny Lewis. Alongside me is Ryan Sanudo. Ryan, how you doing today, man?
Very good. We're going to discuss Kansas City. They've just been brutal. 6-7. 6-7. 6-7.
6-7.
Let's get into it.
What will we be discussing today, Ryan?
So we'll be talking about Travis Kelce and his future. Will he retire after yet another inconsistent season? Patrick Mahomes, why does the two-time MVP not look the same as in years past? Andy Reid, is the veteran coach to blame for their 6-7 season? And where has it gone wrong? We'll discuss the team's struggles and why they've underachieved this season.
Mr. Butterfingers himself. Let's start it up. Travis Kelce. He tends to get a little, when the lights are a little bright, when Taylor Swift is in the building. I don't know if it's, I couldn't tell you what it is. But come on, Ryan, tell me.
Yeah, Kelce's just been very inconsistent. You saw it against Houston. He was dropping, passes left and right, which led to that interception at the very end. He's just not looked the same. I mean, the guy's 36. I mean, he easily could have retired in February right after the Super Bowl. So we saw like the highs and lows of his season. We saw actually good play a couple games ago, and now we've been seeing the ultimate worst when it comes to him. So he's just been very lethargic, very weak, and you see him on the sidelines. He's just so down. He's just cooked on that sideline. He looks utterly, he's looking like he should be on the couch just watching football because he's not looking like a guy, like a 10-time Pro Bowler that we've seen in the past.
Listen, iced tea and some chips on the weekend with a BLT. I'm telling you right now.
That's what he's thinking about right now.
That's where he needs to be. We said it earlier this season that, again, he looked lethargic, unsure of himself, unsure of his hands. Even last night when that turnover happened, that last turnover, his body language, old Travis Kelce would have probably popped right up, damn, let me get right back to it. He laid there and just looked at the air. You know what I mean? And I think that's when you realize that, is it time?
Yeah.
Do you think this is his, last season?
I think it's time. And you talked about energy. He has more energy on new heights than he has during games. I've really noticed that when it comes to him on game days.
That promo money.
The money, yep. But I just feel like it's just caught up to him. I mean, he played so many postseason games. I mean, they haven't missed the playoffs since 2014.
Right.
And he's been there throughout that time. So I think it's just caught up to him. I mean, you're playing so many playoff games compared to the competition where maybe teams are, in the playoffs and then they're not.
Right.
Meanwhile, the Chiefs have always been in the playoffs, and right now they have to win it, every single game in order for them to make the playoffs, and it looks very iffy if they can even win 2 games, let alone 4. So I think Kelce, his time in the NFL is done. Just hanging up. I mean, some guys, they, stick around too long. I think Kelce's stuck around, 1 year too many. But I just think that time is now. Don't play another year. It could actually get worse. You think this is bad? This could get worse.
It's really simple. You could be a family man, have a nice weekend with your wife, kids, maybe. You know what I mean? You could do the whole thing. I think you have to leave the game before it leaves you.
Yeah.
And Kelce I think he's just shown that, his time on the field is done. And, it's okay. It's okay. You still were an all-time great of a tight
worry
end.
about that wedding in June. Worry about that,
Exactly. Worry about the family. Come on. To Patrick Mahomes. What's going on? Give me some details. Come on, let's get into it.
He's looked very average, and some games he's looking, below average. I mean, he's not looking like the guy that's won 2 MVPs.
Yep.
I mean, it starts with the offensive line. The offensive line has done him no favors. And then the wide receivers, they've been dropping passes left and right. So really, everyone's not on the same page. And you know what? I'll give some blame to Patrick Mahomes. I mean, hey, we blame other quarterbacks for their struggles. We have to blame Patrick Mahomes too. He's just been inaccurate at times, the deep ball especially. And then sometimes he just doesn't launch it. I feel like there's sometimes you're like, you know what, Patrick, throw the ball. And he's holding on to it a little bit too long, and then he doesn't make that throw. And then he does have to scramble, so I will give him that. When he knows that there's nothing open downfield and the offensive line is collapsing, he runs and does it. But I think overall, we just haven't seen the best from Patrick Mahomes. And maybe you can blame Andy Reid too. We'll talk about him later. But Patrick, I don't think he's looked like that 2-time MVP. I think he's looked more like a 15th to 20th best quarterback in the league. And that can't happen if you're the Chiefs and if you want to make it to the playoffs.
Well, I mean, that can't happen if you're the Chiefs. And, your defense is pretty much keeping you in every game. You're now 1-7 in one-score games. We're seeing something that's consistent now. And I think something that's really consistent with the Chiefs is their big players are dropping big passes in crucial parts of the game that is now leading into what? One-score losses last year, 11-0 in one-score games. Now what? 1-7. So now there's a consistency that we're seeing that, is it play calling? Again, like we'll get into it later, like you mentioned, but it's scary to see, Patrick Mahomes have a guy, down the field and he can't even complete the pass, right? Is he timid because they're dropping passes? Is he unsure? Can he not trust them? Like, there's so many questions that we have for the Kansas City Chiefs right now. And again, will they win 4 straight games?
No.
There's no chance in my mind that they can win 4 straight games, win out with with a chance to go into the playoffs. They have an 86% chance to not make it to the playoffs. I'm putting my money on the 86%.
Definitely. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, we've seen him time and time again lead a team, on the offense. I mean, we saw games against the Bills where they had to, get a field goal, 30 seconds, and then do it, 20 seconds, whatever. We're not seeing that with Patrick Mahomes. He's not putting that cape on. He's not putting that Superman cape on. So we haven't seen that guy from years past, and he just hasn't been consistent. I think we've seen in the past that he's been inconsistent, but he hasn't been doing that. And you saw that Texans game. I mean, you just were expecting him to incomplete passes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something we don't, look
expect
towards.
from Patrick Mahomes.
That speaks a lot, So, and I get it, Texans defense is really good, but that was one of the worst games. That was the worst passer rating ever for him in a game. So that can't happen. And even games when they're in it, I feel like we haven't seen enough from him. And yes, we can, put blame around, put the blame on the offensive line, the wide receivers, Andy Reid. But Mahomes, I will give a good chunk of the blame to, because I think that he hasn't been leading the offense enough. And I think, you can sense with his energy, it hasn't been there like in years past.
I mean, imagine me. I'm doing pretty well in my fantasy league, 10-3, and he's my starting QB, putting up 3 points here and there.
You can't have that.
My heart.
Yeah.
So Ryan, from top to bottom, the Kansas City Chiefs, we are not too sure what's really going on. Can we speak into that? Tell me what's going on over there.
So Andy Reid, we were talking about Mahomes and the blame on him. I put a lot more blame on Andy Reid. I mean, he's the head coach at the end of the day. And you see in that graphic, 2014 was the last time they missed the playoffs. I mean, they've just been so consistent, making deep runs, going to the conference, championship games, Super Bowls. And we haven't been seeing that. The play calling, I think, has been a mess. Even the decision making, they went for it on their own 30 against the Texans. They have a really good defense, and you go for it on 4th and 1. It was actually 4th and 1.5, I think. So I was like, just punt the ball, and they didn't do that. Just very weird. And then sometimes they're conservative. So I just don't have a good read when it comes to Andy Reid, literally. I didn't even mean to do that. But the Chiefs, they've just been very lethargic, I said about it, with their mentality. And I think it starts with Andy Reid. And then the decision-making, too. Brett Veach, I feel like they've been drafting a little bit poorly. The skill positions, the running backs haven't been good. They haven't addressed that. Even like Xavier Worthy, I mean, yes, you draft this player. He should be better than what he is right now. So I think there's so many problems. Yes, Mahomes, I think he deserves some blame. I give blame to Andy Reid a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan, I completely agree with you. I think we're starting to see a little change in what we knew as the Chiefs. We saw them for years upon years, let's beat down on teams and disrespect teams, and now we're at a point where I feel like this conversation has been consistent with us. Who are the Chiefs? What are they doing this year? What's going on? Where are their leaders?
Yeah.
Where are their leaders?
You're not seeing any fire. You're not seeing any fire.
Again, so I'll give them credit. I think there's times where the defense, lights a fire, under the team. But then for that to, translate to their offense, and then they go out there and play offense and 3 and out, turnover. And it's like, there's only so much that a defense can do against, again, other teams that are now, putting up 200 yards, 300 yards, and you passing. Now, they're scoring. And, it's like, all right, now what are we going to be able to do, So
definitely.
It's tough.
The defense has been, performing well at times, They've been really good.
For sure.
Spagnuolo's been actually providing the fire on the defense. It's the offense, and Andy Reid hasn't really been doing that.
Yeah.
You're seeing opposing coaches do that. You're not seeing that with Andy Reid. And I think, hey, is time passing by for Andy Reid? We'll see. I mean, he's not getting any younger. He's 67 or 68. I think he won't retire after this year, but one more year of this, I think he might call it quits.
Okay, so let's talk about miscues, right? So we think about defensive miscues, offensive miscues, even special teams. You know, like they can't even rely on their kicker, you know, to make I can't even remember if it was about even 30 yards, maybe like 33 yards, you know, dong, right off the post, you know, Taco Bell sign. Like, it's just wild that they can't even, you know, rely on, you know, their main guys to make plays. The main guys to make plays. It doesn't help that Rashee Rice was out for 6 weeks, right?
Did not help.
So now people are trying to step up. Next guy up mentality. Next guy up mentality. Where's the next guy?
No one. Nowhere to be found.
I haven't found him all season.
Nowhere to be found. The Chiefs,
found him all season.
They were getting lucky last year. I mean, they
man.
were really good in one-score games, and they were doing it. I just feel like that was more because they won 2 straight Super Bowls. Yep. They had that vibe. We're like, hey, we can just do it.
That
like,
mystique,
it's fine.
People,
we could just cling on to dear life and win. Hey, that Texans game, they got outgained in so many yards, and they still found a way to win in that playoff game against the Texans last year. Not happening this year. After that blowout loss to the Eagles, it just hasn't been happening. I mean, they haven't had the same luck.
Yeah.
And look, I don't think they're a bad team. I don't think anyone thinks that they're a bad team. They should have a better record.
Right.
I just think at the end of the day, I feel like the guys are underachieving. They're not performing like they have in the past. And I just feel like the mentality hasn't been there like in years past. And you could put the blame everywhere. I mean, I don't think there's very few guys that you could say, oh, they're doing their job, you know. Even like Chris Jones, he hasn't been the same guy as in years past. So, I mean, they really haven't gotten that MVP on the offense and on the defense, and that's why they're here right now.
Listen, I knew Chris Jones wasn't the same when last game I was watching the beginning of the game. Star Spangled Banner's up. No cry out the left eye. I said, yeah, this guy's he's not locked in. He's not locked in. Normally Chris Jones, Star Spangled Banner.
That was a tell right
Tears.
there.
I said, all right, he's not locked in anymore.
No.
If we are saying that there's all of these problems, right, identifying all these problems with the Chiefs, head coach, special teams, you know, maybe not so much defense, but just overall, you know, arching problems. Is this a dynasty? Was it ever a dynasty?
Oh, it was a dynasty. I mean, you win 2 straight Super Bowls. I mean, they even won in, obviously, 2019-20.
Yeah.
So 3 Super Bowls in like 6 or 7 years. So I consider that a dynasty.
Okay.
Really good run.
Yeah.
But I think it's over. Hey, we were talking about it a couple weeks ago, and, you know, I was saying, like, if they lose this game, hey, I think the dynasty could be over. And I think the dynasty can be over. I mean, guys are aging. I mean, Kelce won't be there. So it's really it doesn't feel the same with Kelce not in the picture. If he does retire after the season. Chris Jones is only going to get older. And then they have free agents. I mean, Watson is going to be a free agent.
Yep.
So there are guys that they have to worry about in free agency. So guys are going to be coming and going. And, hey, the competition is only going to get better. I mean, the Broncos, they have 10, 11 wins right now. So the Chargers are going to make the playoffs. Yep. So, I mean, hey, I think teams won't, you know, say to themselves, okay, the Chiefs aren't any good anymore. But, hey, like, they're not that same Super Bowl contender like in years past. So I agree. I mean, dynasties come to an end, whether people like it or not.
For sure.
And the Patriots, it happened. They got those Super Bowls in Brady's early tenure. Then they didn't win a Super Bowl for 10 years.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
So
You're
that
right.
can happen too. Mahomes, 3 Super Bowls in so little time. Hey, a couple more years of this, I think the dynasty is over.
Right. I mean, I think you know, hit it perfectly. You know, dynasties end.
Yeah.
As simple as that. Dynasties do end. And, I mean, we saw the Chiefs have their spectacular run. We saw them beat up teams and do what the Chiefs do, you know, that Andy Reid offense, you know. We saw Mahomes be spectacular. And I think we can also be okay with the fact that it is over and that there will be new people who are going to start to run the league and you start to see maybe some parity, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's teams that have been good in the last couple of years who, you know, have been maybe now middle of the table, middle of the pack. You know, you start seeing people come out of the woodworks who have been kind of building up. So, hey, man, we'll see what happens. But, yeah, I definitely agree with you that the dynasty has, you know, definitely come to an end.
And with the offense, I think when you think of the Chiefs, you think of that offense, Patrick Mahomes, Kelce, and way back when they had Tyreek Hill. I feel like they win those couple Super Bowls without Tyreek Hill, and they found a way. But they don't have that guy on offense right now that Mahomes can say, okay, I trust you. Rashee Rice has been very consistent this year. You talked about the suspension. Xavier Worthy, I need to see more. And obviously the run game is a disaster. Pacheco is on and off. I mean, mostly off. Kareem Hunt, they've been trusting him a little too much. So I think the offense is the real identity that has been lost right now. And if they can't get it in this draft, Brett Veach, if he doesn't do it, like they have to get a wide receiver or something, running back, some flash. I know they were looking at Breece Hall during the trade deadline. They didn't get it. So I think in actuality, they need some offensive players or they're cooked.
All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in to our special episode of Ain't That Our Ball. We'll be back every Thursday per usual. Like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know if the dynasty is over. Peace.